Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Devontae, and I sacrifice my time so you don't have to. I'm telling you, man, it's this attitude man, AEW, bruh. They're in trouble, man. It's not just the executives, and it's the wrestlers and themselves. It's the people that keep enabling them by just constantly deflecting from the backstage problems that's contributing to the actual content in itself being a referendum on all the stuff that's been currently happening backstage. You can't just keep deflecting with whataboutisms, bruh. Especially when the example that you use in order to, conjure up this so-called whataboutism, you don't even recognize that you're proving a point in comparison to WWE and AEW. We'll get more back on that topic in a little bit, but let me read this article for you guys real quick, bro. This is actually insane. And I want to actually read you a couple of comments down in the comment section below just to show you, like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, bro. So, WWE allegedly kept Roman Reigns and Matt Riddle separate due to real-life heat. Matt Riddle became a controversial name in the WWE because of his problematic actions outside the square circle, leading to his release. Riddle ruffled many feathers in WWE, and it appears WWE allegedly kept Reigns and Riddle separate due to their real-life heat. Before Randy Orton took a break due to injury, he and Matt Riddle formed the tag team RK Bro. Their partnership was marked by winning tag team championships and becoming notable highlights on WWE television. While speaking on the Wrestling Matt Camp, okay, I thought it was Matt Riddle's podcast. Former WWE personality Matt Camp revealed how Roman Reigns made an appearance on The Bump back in August of 2021 due to his relationship with Shady Rays, a sunglasses company. At that time, they made sure Riddle, who was also a guest on the show, was not on set until after Roman's interview had concluded to avoid potential issues. Kemp noted that they deliberately kept Riddle off the set until Roman's segment was finished, which Kemp believed was the right decision. And I quote, "Then he came on again a year later, in August of 2021, because he had a partnership with Shady Rays, a sunglasses company. He did the interview from a house with an outdoor shower somewhere, and he was in full Roman mode. It had been a year. The funny part is that Riddle was the in-studio guest for that show, and we 100% did not put Riddle on the set until Roman was off the video screen. We didn't want to mess with that. Then Riddle went and said something dumb about Roman in another interview right after that. I think that's where he told the story about writing a letter to Roman apologizing, with Randy telling him to do it and all of that. We made a point to keep Riddle off the set until the Roman interview was done, which was definitely the right call." And I can't exactly remember the thing that Matt Riddle, if I remember correctly, I swear to God, I did a video on this not too long after I talked about the whole situation with Undertaker and I don't know if you guys, God, this was like 3.5 years ago, but like right after the situation with the Undertaker on the Joe Rogan podcast and him calling all the wrestlers soft in the locker room, like all the wrestlers got super butthurt about it. I remember Drew McIntyre got butthurt over it, Xavier Woods got butthurt over it, and Matt Riddle also got butthurt over it. And I remember him saying something to the regard, I made a whole video on this at the time. He said something to the regard that nobody in the locker room back then could beat his ass or the locker room today's ass. He didn't say it like that, like verbatim, but essentially that's what he was saying. He was like, with all your guns and knives or some shit like that, because that's what Undertaker was saying as far as how men back then were men. None of you guys could kick any of our asses nowadays. Some shit like that. I can't remember exactly, right? Not too long afterwards, I remember it was like around the time Roman Reigns was talking about CM Punk and how he didn't want to do business with CM Punk. I think Punk did not debut yet in AEW, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he got there yet. I think the rumors just started with him and Danielson coming to AEW. And Matt Riddle, I think he said something along the lines of, correct me if I'm wrong. I made a video on this like 3 years ago, but he says something along the lines of like Roman Reigns is just playing a character on television or some shit like that, that in real life, he can actually fight. I don't think he ever made like a gesture at Roman Reigns. Let me look at the article real quick. Actually, let me look this up real quick. I think, let me look this up real quick. Oh, I'm sorry. I did get it mixed up. I'll leave this link down in the description box below if you guys want to read it, just for clarity. I'll read it anyways, just so you guys can have a little bit of background as far as why Matt and Roman had backstage issues before I give you the conclusion to all this, and then we'll talk about the AEW stuff. But look, this is an article from September 17th, 2021. I guess this was a little bit after the CM, but Roman made the CM Punk comments beforehand, though. I remember I made a video on that one for sure, and I made a video on this too. But Matt Riddle recently, this is 2021 by the way, Matt Riddle recently confirmed that there has been a little heat on him backstage in WWE for comments he made recently about Roman Reigns. Riddle was being interviewed by the Bleacher Report and said that Reigns doesn't move the needle. That's what he said. And this reportedly rubbed some the wrong way backstage in the company. During a recent interview with the International Business Times, Riddle confirmed that his comments were met with a negative reaction in WWE. And I quote, "I'm not trying to rub anybody the wrong way or say anything wrong, but I made some comments and I'll say this. I think they were all factual, just so you know." So he doubles down. So you're not trying to rub anyone the wrong way, but you double it down, bro. Kind of like I said, I am kind of telling the truth here. But I think maybe even if they were factual, they weren't the most professional things to say, especially with me being on the Raw brand and him being on the SmackDown brand, Riddle said. I think maybe I got a little too big for my britches, you know what I mean? Maybe I got a little backstage heat, maybe a tiny bit. And did you see anything else? Matt Riddle confirms. Okay. Yeah, that's essentially it. Then everything else. Oh, he said, and then he tried to be all funny. He said, "Unfortunately, I said some things that some people may not have liked, and I'm not going to mention names, but they didn't like it." He's talking about Roman, obviously. "I won't say it again. I get it," Riddle continued. "Right now, all hail the tribal chief. Good for Roman Reigns. Acknowledge him. Everybody acknowledge him? Okay, that's all I'm saying." And that's essentially it. If you want to read more of the article, I'll leave this link down in the description box below also. But that's the whole heat that Matt Riddle is talking about in regards to Roman Reigns and how they had backstage issues back in 2021. Obviously, that got resolved because they obviously worked a program together. Not really a program, but they worked a match together. I think, was that in 2021 also? Or when did the Matt Riddle Roman Reigns match happen? Was that in 2021 or was that in 2022? These shits kind of run together. But regardless, so they did work a championship match, I think on a SmackDown episode in either 2021 or 2022. So obviously everything was resolved, right? So we go right back to the other previous article that I was talking about. And check this out right here, bro. So you hear all the information that's being discussed. Riddle obviously apologized. Randy Orton, I don't know if he put him up to it or anything like that, but Riddle eventually apologized. And clearly they worked things out because they worked a match together. And look at this. Immediately you start getting these comments from the AEW fanboys. "Oh wow, it can't be. Backstage issues in God Almighty's company? No." And it's like, you keep seeing, I've seen these comments on Twitter also, because this thing isn't necessarily trending, but it is big news right now at the moment, at least at this point in time. And there are people who are seeing people who's, all of this, oh, their mouths are shut now. Backstage issues, their mouths are shut. You know, it seems like a common occurrence. You know, oh, I actually said this about Matt Riddle, but still though. And then one person's like, "Oh, the WWE is a toxic place." Just all these AEW fans coping like a motherfucker, bro. But you don't even recognize what you're saying right now or what's on display and what actually is a perfect example as to what should happen in AEW. Now, mind you, I will say with the issue of MJF and Britt Baker, I'm not here to make a bigger deal out of it outside of what we were actually hearing that was occurring in real time about a week or two ago, but at the same time, it actually did happen. That can't be denied, nothing of the sorts. And two things. One, I would outright, and I'm pretty sure this happens to be the case, acknowledge that MJF and Britt Baker have made up. I have seen plenty of interviews with, well, not seen, but at least read the transcripts for plenty of interviews where MJF is not putting over Britt Baker. I think I've seen Britt Baker put over MJF. Even though I still see her write comments, something along the lines of, "You don't like me at my best, so don't accept me at my," or some shit like, "You don't like me at my worst, so don't accept me at my best," type of energy. Oh, that she put out like a week and a half ago or something like that, when she commented on the backstage issues or some shit like that. So it kind of seems one-sided, but at the very least, I think I've seen Britt Baker did Britt Baker put over MJF on live television? I can't remember. My point being is, though, it seems like they made up, just going off of what we've been seeing lately. So I don't think that's the best example outside of the fact that, you know, they did have the backstage confrontation. And with Matt Riddle and Roman Reigns, there was no backstage confrontation. It was just heat between two parties. And not even so much heat from Matt Riddle as much as heat on Matt Riddle for the comments that he himself has acknowledged was ignorant and stupid and unprofessional. Even if this was said from an AEW standpoint, I would chide the fuck out of him. See, me for an example, I can call out people like Mercedes Moné. I can call out people like CM Punk when he was working for the company. I can call out MJF. I do not work for AEW. I do not get a paycheck from AEW. I have no relationship with AEW whatsoever. I am a critic of professional wrestling in general, and that includes AEW. So clearly, these are the kind of things that I'm going to say. These are the kind of things I'm going to review. These are the things I'm going to notice. These are the things I'm going to judge. I get to make comments like that. You, working side by side with your friend, make comments like that within your circle. You do not go on other podcasts. You do not go out in public and bury your coworker. That is completely unprofessional. That is horrid behavior when you're representing your company. This is why I say all the time, whenever you see people speak hyperbolically about AEW or WWE, I make it known that it's not so much that you yourself defending your company or giving a high appraisal is a problem. That's not the problem. It's just when you insult your fans' intelligence by saying something so out of pocket, so out of left field, so exaggerated, that it almost feels like an attack on your fans a little tiny bit, because it's just so ridiculous to say something like that. It's like you're calling us gullible. It's like you're calling us stupid. There's ways of how you can word these where you don't make the company look way more than what it actually is, while at the same time putting them over. And if you can't do that, then maybe you shouldn't be in the position to do a PR run for the company. Maybe you shouldn't be in the position to having to do anything media related for the company. Because when you say things like this, you put the company into a position where they're held to a standard that they themselves can't keep up with. That's always been my criticism when talking about AEW fanboys or the AEW wrestlers or people in executive positions in particular who talk about AEW in such high regards, when it's not merited, when it's not in any way conflated with the metrics that we see that are constantly ongoing, that are showing the company on a downtrend currently at the moment, not to mention the previous contexts that are put out there for us to look at and read in articles that are 9 times out of 10 usually confirmed through the idiots who leaked it to begin with, already within the AEW locker room. But notice how the conflict between people like MJF and Britt Baker was a legitimate altercation that happened backstage. There was no altercation between Matt Riddle and Roman Reigns, at least not to my understanding. No one has talked about that yet. And if anything, let's just hypothetically say that happens to be true. That's even more of a fucking point within the WWE camp, because they kept their mouths shut about a situation that happened between the two physically, maybe a little bit of yelling, if it even fucking happened. That says more about them than it does about AEW. They can't keep their mouths shut for shit. We have to find out 3 years later that there was a situation with Matt and Roman. What the fuck does that tell you? And that's even suggesting that there was even an altercation, which apparently doesn't seem as if there was one. It seems like Matt Riddle recognized that he was a fucking retard, and he did the right thing. Whether it was Randy Orton to put him up to it, he did the right thing. He apologized to Roman, the guy who's legitimately the draw. And if you don't believe him to be the draw, well, let's just make facts facts. You say facts, he's a bigger draw than you. I think that is notable, right? Seems to me that he's still working for the company, and he's made quite a bit questionable decisions, Roman Reigns has, going all the way back to 2016. Versus you, sir. Seems like you're not working with the company anymore. But that's besides the point. We get back to the AEW fanboys, because that's who we're focusing on at the moment. Your whataboutisms and your projections and your deflections and your movement of the goalposts. What does this do for your company overall? So what you're essentially saying is continue the bad behavior backstage because WWE gets away with it, which they don't. Like I just illustrated right here, there was no getting away with it. There was no altercation. There were two grown men, one who acted really, really fucking childish and immature, who no longer works for the company because he's childish and immature. They got rid of that problem, which, by the way, another point in their camp, who went out of his way to apologize. They hashed things out, and then they worked together. That cannot be said about AEW. MJF and Britt Baker is just a recent occurrence. We're not talking about all the other problems that have happened backstage. Multiple upon 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 multiple with the same superstars. Some of those same superstars who now work for WWE who haven't had the problem since. I mean, kind of seems a little bit conspicuous, does it? Seems that the common denominator is not really necessarily the person, but more so the company who has the person in the contract who's not doing a goddamn thing about it. But that's just part of the course for the enabling of AEW and their fans. They themselves can never hold anybody accountable for any positions that are currently happening in that company, whether negative or whether positive, that usually sooner or later turns into a negative because they themselves can't keep up with whatever they're doing because they don't understand that nurturing actually goes into things that you're usually trying to perpetuate on television or trying to keep up in high regards in regards to morale within the locker room, because you have to keep people satisfied and happy on a consistent basis. Just being a booker or being the boss does not mean booking matches like you're in fucking universe mode. It's more than that, but apparently Tony Khan himself does not believe that. He believes that professional wrestling should be ran in a certain manner, and then it's ran in that certain manner, and then his fans see it, and then rather than acknowledge it, they ignore it or get pissed at you for acknowledging it. And then when something happens that's even minuscule, something that they could just sink their teeth into, it's like a fucking bear who's starving, who finds a goddamn seal, a baby seal, squirming, swimming for the water because that bear's coming to fucking attack it, and God almighty, that bear's gonna fucking devour it when it captures it. That's what's being currently done at the moment with AEW fans. They see a little baby seal. They see a little fish in the water. God damn it, they're starving right now. They're willing to catch anything if it means they can fill their belly up, right? But it ain't gonna work here, AEW fanboys. It's not gonna work. It never works with your company because you're the ones who consistently, more than ever, and gosh darn it, if I had a doubt for how many times I've actually seen this occur in your company, I'd be a rich man. I'd be richer than Tony Khan at the moment, as I talk about in regards to the enabling process that you guys do in every fucking scenario, in every situation, for every wrestler. Your company can never look bad. You can never just look at your company and say to yourselves like, oh fuck, if I could just get these people together and man, I can, you know, that type of mindset, that type of thinking never really occurs to you guys. It's, well, look at WWE, like always and forever. Cause, and you guys know the motto when it comes to this channel when talking about the AEW fanboys and the AEW faithful, wait for it, it's never about loving AEW, it's about hating WWE. Never forget that. Always remember that, understand that, keep that ingrained within your brain. Bars, I know. They actually handle things like men over there. Things like adults, if for nothing else. Whereas your company is still here trying to figure out how the fuck can we get this situated and get this situation before it escalates even further past the point where it already escalated from, where we should have got it situated there to begin with. Past that point that escalated already from a situation we should have just nipped in the bud at that point in time, past that point. And it goes all the way to the point where guys like CM Punk end up working back for WWE. Where it goes all the way back to the point that Cody Rhodes is no longer working for your company. Where it goes all the way to the point where even the younger guys underneath those guys are now trying to get into WWE because they don't want to deal with your stupid ass company anymore. But don't let me say anything. Let you guys ride. Go ahead, cook. Talk about WWE some more. A situation that happened 3 years ago for a guy who hasn't worked with the company for damn near a year. Don't let me stop you from having a good time, if you will. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Did I say something that was wrong? Anybody? Raise your hand. Devontae, you're a bad guy. I get it. Cliche, ending, same thing all the time. Gets boring after a while. End it here. Let's do that. As always, my name is Devontae, and I'll be catching you guys later. A deuces and a P.